Hey everybody, this is Shelby, and we're here with another video on Koda. And this video, we're going to work them in the round pen a little bit and saddle them up. I haven't saddled them up yet. This horse has been ridden a little bit, and we're still kind of in the first few days of him being here, and trying to learn him a little bit, learn about him, learn his tells. And you can see he's a little bit up. Not too bad, but it is in the morning. And obviously his buddy, you can't hear it in here because I have the audio off, but his buddy down in his pen is calling for him, so he's a little bit up there as well. So we put him in the round pen. We just turn him loose. And we're going to start today off just moving him. And, I'd like for him to walk, but when they come out and they're a little bit up, especially this horse, horses like him, expecting him to walk, it's really not quite fair to him. He's kind of young, and he's not like forward, but his preferred gait is definitely the trot. So we're just going to move him around here. And there he kind of cheated there a little bit, but he offered me to walk. So I'm going to take it. And I'm just observing him again. His head's down, it's swinging, he's walking. And then, he kind of finished his business and he went right back to trotting. His head kind of came up, and, his alert side came out a little bit. Picked up the canter again. It's a little bit faster than I'd like, but again, he just came out. We haven't been working with him. This is kind of how a lot of young horses come out. Switch direction, just seeing if he's paying attention. And with him, I decide I'm going to try this with him. Is just a lot more canter work and a lot more trot work, and not worry about the walk. And then we'll come back to the walk when he's a little bit like more focused. As if he's not focused, even if I get him to walk, it's probably not going to sink in. It's not the end of the world. I do want that good walk like he shows me he can do. I don't want to work the walk I don't want to work the trot and the canter so much that we lose it. So he's paying attention pretty well here. His head's just a little bit higher, a little bit more. There's a little bit more tension in him than I'd like. And it's, like I said, it's not the end of the world. His headset is a little higher than other quarter horses, but he can relax more. And lowering his head doesn't mean he's super low like a Western pleasure horse or anything like that. That's not really how this horse is built. So expecting that out of him, that would require mechanical aids, and I won't do that. So we moved him around. He seems to be doing pretty good. He's pretty close to where he was the day before. And I stopped him. He's kept his eye on me. He's kind of paying attention here, so I'm going to get the halter. Also, in the round pen, if you notice, I was pretty much using just a dressage whip with him. He didn't need any more help from my aids in that, so I didn't overuse my aids. I don't want him to be reactive. I want him to be responsive, but I also don't want him to be dull and ignoring me, so to speak. So putting a halter on, we got asking for his head down a little bit. And you can see again, there's a little bit of resistance, but today I'm not going to expect quite as much of him because now we're training. We're not doing like in the last video where we were just trying to evaluate him. And throw the pad on him, and I like to put everything on the offside first. It's just more efficient time-wise, and it just has more uses. Like when they're a little more broke, I'll put it on either side, but really this side is the most efficient way, especially if you put your saddle away properly, and I do have a video on that somewhere on YouTube. So I'm dropping my cinches, and you see he's kind of up, he's looking around. His buddy down the way is calling, so he's a little bit distracted, and there's no reason for me to try to school him and make him pay attention to me more, because he's just not capable of that yet. And he's not being bad. He's just not as focused mentally, emotionally on me as I'd like. Here he's kind of looking around to me and giving me those points. So I'll let him know that I appreciate that and take a mental note, because I want to see improvements there. And as we go along in his journey on things, we will be seeing improvements there, and hopefully I'll remember to highlight them whenever I voice over these videos. So I'm tacking them up. I already guesstimated where my cinches should be so that they're in the middle, because I do use a shoulder relief cinch, and it needs to be pretty close to the middle, or it adds actually, instead of making it more comfortable, it makes it a little more uncomfortable. So when you use those kind of things like the total relief cinch, or pads with different mounts of shoulder relief, build-up pads, when you use different things like different articles of tack like that, you need to make sure that they are placed appropriately. I think we're about done. But see, he kind of comes and goes and comes and goes. So if I got after him and say, hey, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, I wouldn't see that in some ways and shapes and forms he does pay attention, and other times he doesn't. Knowing that he kind of goes in and out is a good thing, and knowing that really, instead of telling him, hey, you need to pay attention in those moments where he isn't, I'd rather say, hey, thanks for paying attention. I'd rather support those moments when he is. So now that he's in the saddle, or all tacked up in the saddle, I just want him to walk. Like, see this walk here? This is the same walk that we have with no saddle on it. Perfect. This is what I want to see. This is a nice walk. This horse is a really good walk on. I think it can be better. And I'm just that way. I'm not going to force it to be better. I'm going to look for it to be better. But this is a nice walk. His head's kind of swinging, and his head's down. He's stepping underneath himself really well. And I just asked him into the trot. And this trot's pretty close to what he does whenever he's not tacked up, when he's loose or when he's on the line. It's a little high, a little bit of tension, but nothing bad. And here we're going to ask him to canter. And there it is. We fell apart. So here I'm just trying to support him and keep him moving, keep him moving. I don't really want to give him a release for falling apart, the canter. And so I'm just going to keep him moving. And when he canters there, I'm going to let him go for a minute and give him a release. And then I'm going to push him forward just a little bit to see if he's done, to see if he comes back. There's a little bit more. And he does it a few times in here. Now, this right here is the reason why, until my horses are far enough along, you won't see me riding them in anything that doesn't have a breast collar and a rear cinch. I don't know him. I never tacked him up. I mean, he's never wore my saddle or my pad. There, I'm going to push him forward more a little bit. I want to just see if I can get him to fall apart a little bit more, because he's got to know that I'm there to support him. And that is the reason why I have him on the line. Now, besides the fact that if you start a horse, or if you tack up a horse and you're not at least using a breast collar, you're just using the bare minimum, you're kind of hanging yourself out to dry potentially. And what I mean there is that saddle can roll, it can slide, it doesn't have to stay in place, because if you haven't saddled this horse up before, you really don't know how well it's going to fit, because you can't sit there and try on saddles and saddle pads and try to get a perfect fit. It's just, it's not an efficient way to do it. You just set yourself up for more and more failure for him to react with that saddle going on and on, on and off once you start cinching it up. So I always use that breast collar, and I almost always use the rear cinch. There are a few exceptions, but at any rate, I want that saddle to have the best chances of staying in the place as possible, and not rolling under his belly or sliding up his neck or falling up, sliding back down over his hindquarters. And it will happen. if in certain situations, especially if you start enough horses or you work with enough horses that have a minimal saddle time, saddle time tacked up, or however you want to slice it. Second is, if you notice, I didn't take him off the line. I didn't turn him loose. This is because he needs to know that I'm here to support him. If I just saddle him up and take the halter off and just let him buck it out, I guarantee if I would have done that today, we would have had a whole lot more longer of a rodeo. And then we created a little bit of a crack in the foundation as far as I'm concerned. And what that does is I can't support him. I can jump out in front of him and change directions, but now I'm not being support. I'm not being an anchor for him. So I really like to make sure that I got a lead on them so I can kind of help them through. I can push them, I can slow them down, I can change directions, I can say, hey, focus on me, I'm here for help, I'm here to support you, you're all right. That's what a leader does. A leader's not going to just throw them out there and say, hey, you're on your own, how do you like this? A leader's going to be like, you've never done this before, you haven't done it a lot, I'm here to help you, I'm here to show you that it's okay. I want them to mentally, emotionally look to me. So he kind of calmed down there through my long-windedness. He calmed down there, and you know what? Quite frankly, I'm going to call that good today on him. And we're just going to sit here. We're going to untack him. I'm going to put my rigging up properly before I take my saddle off, because I want to do that every time I take it off, whether it's a super broke horse or the first time that horse is saddled, because he's getting a little bit of soaking time here. I could have went and just tied him up with the saddle on. I think he would have been fine. But I have another horse to ride that I use this saddle on. And so I'm just going to take it off before I go and tie him up. He's standing there just like he did when we tacked him up. He's a little bit distracted, but if you really look at him, it's way less than before. He's not looking around. He's just standing there. I know the video is small, but his ear's on me most of the time. He's not looking down at the corrals where his other buddy is that he's decided is his best friend. He's just waiting for me and just kind of feeling and seeing what's going on. I lift that saddle up off his back, set it down, and there he is, right there with me again. So this was the first time I saddled him up, and I want to thank you guys for watching. Enjoy your day, enjoy your lives, enjoy your horses, and enjoy the ride. And we will get some more videos on Koda out to you soon. Thank you.